3.5 million people ride the subways each day. Fast, inexpensive, reliable transportation to and from jobs and errands. But when the sun goes down and the rush of the day is over, it becomes a different world. With an average of only one cop for about every 2,000 paying passengers, the transit police are hard-pressed to do the job. At one point, they were trying to cope with more than 200 serious crimes, felonies, each week. The situation outraged 23-year-old Curtis Sliwa, the night manager at a McDonald's restaurant, and he hit upon the idea of citizen patrols to look for and interrupt subway crimes. Soon, the red beret and T-shirt uniform of the Magnificent 13 started becoming familiar to riders as 3 4-man teams took to the trains each night. The original 13 became 80.
We are going to do what we can in a nonviolent way without having any weapons available to us whatsoever to curb this violent crime that is on a continuous rampage throughout the system.
And yet violence does attend some of your patrols. I mean, you get into scrapes, no question about it.
Definitely. But remember, you're not dealing with the logical mind out there. You're dealing with an individual who's very basic, who only knows 2 things, rip off or be ripped off.
Because we don't see National Guardsmen doing anything but acting like mannequins, we're going to have to increase our numbers, increase the training, and increase our presence, as we did back in 1979. We went from 13 to 1,000 back then, within a period of a year, because the need was there. The need is here now once again. We're going to step up. We're going to make sure we have a visual presence like we had back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Well, we've passed another holiday. We're in 2025. Hope everyone had a good holiday. We did. Hopefully that the coming year hopefully will bring some change, especially here in NYC. Because there's a lot going on here. And the thing is, I'll tell you straight out, we've discussed this many times before, and how our politicians are lying to us. You know, Governor Kathy Hochul, I wouldn't trust her to the situation, to what she's telling us. We have a crime issue on our city streets, in our city subways. They're going to say, oh, everything is fine. Everything is great.
The man accused of lighting her on fire was taken into custody just a few hours after police put out pictures of him in connection to the woman's death. He's been indicted on murder and arson charges.
Police are looking for 2 suspects accused of attacking a subway rider with a bottle in the Bronx. The NYPD released video of the people they're looking for. One is seen holding a glass bottle as they jump over the turnstile at the Gun Hill Road station.
This man is accused of pummeling an 83-year-old man after the two got into a verbal dispute. It happened on a southbound 5 train as it approached the Fulton Street station early Friday morning. Police need help identifying the suspect. They say he repeatedly punched the other man in the face.
Right at the last second, right in front of the train. Just shoved right in front of the train.
A witness describing what's happening in this horrifying video obtained by CBS News New York. You see the man in the dark-colored jacket, jeans, mask, and hood pacing. His victim there in the tan jacket, looking down at his phone. As the downtown 1 train pulls into the 18th Street station around 1:30, the 45-year-old victim is shoved underneath. It's hard to watch on TV, even more difficult to witness firsthand.
And we're not even going to the situations above ground, which right before the day before New Year's Eve, there was a shooting, 6 people involved in that situation, including a child. As of this point, there had been no arrests made at the time of this recording, which was right after New Year's. we recorded this. Things haven't changed as of yet. But now we have situations that need to be taken care of. We have a police problem on our streets. And not that they are a problem, is that we have the lack of police officers. A report came out that this happened to be a big year as far as injuries of the NYPD. We have our own governor who's texting out there and she's blogging. Everything is fine. Everything is great to the situation. Now, you're familiar with the name Curtis Sliwa. If you're not familiar with him, back when I was a kid, we're going back about 78, 79, he formed a group called the Guardian Angels. Now, some people say, well, they're vigilantes. These guys are not armed. These guys are trained. They're trained in martial arts. They're also trained in to talk things out. They're also trained in first aid, medical, CPR to the situation. And back when I was a kid, they were dispatched to the subways because we had a high crime issue like we do today. And they've been able to resolve some of the crime. Even though the mayor of New York at that time, Ed Koch, didn't like them at first. But then things started to turn around. So, of course, he had to give props to them. Giuliani and Bloomberg respected them as well because of the job they did in New York City. This is to the point where this group spread out throughout the country. You saw chapters in about, 13 states at least for them. And they were able to resolve these situations. When people saw them on patrol, people felt safer because the cops weren't able to run. And this is a time, and I'll tell you this, this is a time period when in the 70s, the NYPD was in divisions at that point, which basically you had these police that handled the subways, the transit cops, what they used to call the transit cops. Now they merged them all together into one unit. There's no longer transit cops. There are police in patrol of the transit hubs, but they're no longer listed as transit police. We're going to read a little bit into this. This is from the New York Post Metro. Inside the Guardian Angels, new mission to take back the subways as New Yorkers are ready to fight back against the transit chaos. See, after the Daniel Penny situation, people are now afraid to get involved. Because, people have in their mind, if I get involved to stop this crime, am I going to be arrested? See, this is the thing with that. We have DAs, prosecutors that are willing to prosecute innocent people for protecting others on our streets and subways. Daniel Penny is not the first case. There have been multiple ones. But let's read into this. Big Apple strap hangers are on board. New Yorkers on Monday embraced the Guardian Angels and founder Curtis Sliwa as the anti-crime crusaders resumed patrols of the troubled city subway systems for the first time since 2020. One grateful New Yorker even planted a kiss on Sliwa as the red beret-wearing crew poked around the darkest corners of the Bronx and Manhattan stations looking for trouble with the posts tagging along. It's good to see you all back, Bronx resident Tammy Benson, age 60, told Sliwa after giving him a kiss at the 125th Street station in Harlem. You and them need to come back. I'm grateful to see it. I feel really blessed when I see Sliwa. It's been 40 years, and he's really sweet and kind. Another strap hanger, Manhattanite Natalie Laurel, told the Post the Angels were a welcome sight. We need them, said Laurel, 40. It's that time. We need them again. We're happy to see them. If you are a native New Yorker, then you know. Sliwa, a former Republican mayor candidate, which he will be running again, ladies and gentlemen. He is planning to run again. Was flipping burgers as a night manager at a Bronx McDonald's when he founded the group in 1979 amid horrific subway violence at the time. Once topping off thousands of members worldwide, yes, they did go worldwide with this group, the Guardian Angels have since returned to the underground several times, but not since the last patrols nearly 15 years ago. This weekend, Sliwa announced that he was taking his volunteers back into the transit system following the horrific arson death of a homeless woman on the F train in Brooklyn earlier this month. On Monday, cops reported 2 more transit attacks. A 48-year-old man slashed in the neck at the West 50th Street and 8th Avenue station in Manhattan. A 52-year-old man was stabbed in the arm at the Myrtle Wyckoff station on the Brooklyn-Queens border. New York NYPD stats show that over the past 28 days alone, there were 49 felony assaults reported in the system, a jump of about 40% over the same period last year. I'm going to read that again. NYPD stats show that there, over the past 28 days alone, there were 49 felony assaults reported in a system, a jump of about 40% over the same period last year. See, this is what they're not telling you. You have to look to the situation. They do an overall broad, but when you go deep into the numbers, you'll find that New York overall has ranged anywhere between a 50 to 125% jump in various different crimes. Understand that. The stats are out there. All you need is to look them up. Take it upon yourself and research it. And you'll find the truth out there. Unlike what the mainstream media, the governor, the mayor have been telling us. The recent subway arson slay brought the numbers of murders in the city subway system to 10 this year, double the number of murders in 2023, and matching a 25-year high reaching in 2022, city statistics show. Those numbers are in contrast to a lengthy stretch between 1997 and 2019 that never saw more than 5 transit slayings, and it's just not homicides. As of Sunday, there were 573 felony assaults in the system so far this year, matching the 572 over the same period last year. They'll tell you nothing's changed. Yeah, sure, nothing's changed. It's the same felonies that are happening. You're not reducing those felonies. In fact, just hours after the F train arson murder, a 76-year-old woman was randomly slugged on a 6 train at the 51st Street subway station, sending her to the hospital. Several hours later, there was another attack on the Bleecker Street train platform. A 27-year-old man was also punched. Are these all connected? We don't know. Most likely no. Sliwa said that's why the Angels are back on the beat in the subways. We ride the trains and check every car and make the presence known in every car, and then we get off and check the really bad stations like here on 125th Street in Lex, he said. Upstairs is like Dope Fiend City. Guardian Angels founder member Arnaldo Salinas said 70 people have reached out to volunteer for the subway's patrol since the Post wrote about the new effort on Sunday. But Salinas said applications are carefully screened to weed out vigilantes out for blood. And that's what they did originally in the 70s as well. First, we do interviews and we ask them questions like, why do you want to do this? And if we get answers like, my mom was robbed the other day and I wanted to get out there and kick fucking shit out of people, then we say, no, we can't use you, he said. If you're one of these Bruce Lee wannabes, I'm afraid not. We can't use you, Salinas added. He said the gig is also dangerous. 6 Guardian Angels have been killed on patrol since 1980, and others have suffered injuries ranging from broken bones to losing an eye from an attack with a golf club. The new patrols consist of 3 Guardian Angels each and will run around the clock on 4-hour shifts, the group said with the F-Line site, as a horrific arson attack one of the main focuses. On Monday, 2 teams, including Sliwa, boarded the Uptown 6 train to Harlem, then back down to Coney Island train station in Brooklyn. That's a lot of jumping around, ladies and gentlemen. It's not one train that goes back and forth that way. 6 train is the east side of Manhattan, just to let you know, because that's where I grew up on that 6 train. At one station, a shoeless young woman approached Sliwa, asking if he was the mayor. After a brief conversation by a bystander, stepped up and gave the woman a pair of socks. See, Sliwa told her, there are good people who care about you. You can't get out of this. In one tense encounter, Sliwa approached a man who appeared to be selling drugs at 125th Street, chewing out the man until he walked away. You better get the hell out of the subway, he told the man. We will get you out of the subway if you're here to sell drugs. Get the hell out. Whether or not the confrontation was largely for show, it was a welcoming sight for many strap hangers. You could say whatever you want about that. Sliwa and the rest of his guardian angels, they've been removing the crime from the streets. You know, we saw this in the 70s and 80s. You guys are needed down here, 52-year-old Bronx resident Sammy Rimaldi told Sliwa as he shook his hand on Monday. You guys are for the regular people who are working the night shifts and the late shifts down here at the night alone. The cops can't cover everything, he added. Nevertheless, a rep for Mayor Eric Adams on Monday maintained that the cops have put a dent in crime in the city and suggested that the Guardian Angels do patrol a little bit more than theatrics. See what I mean about the situation? Adams defeated Sliwa in the 2021 mayor race. It's going to be different this time around. The mayor's surged 1,000 police officers per day in the subways have brought down overall crime and transit crime, delivering a real action, not theatrics, but he knows there's still more work to be done, City Hall Press Secretary Kayla Malik said in an email. But I told you the numbers already. You already see the numbers that are going on. There hasn't been a reduction. The theatrics is from the mayor of New York City and from the governor. They have elections coming up. Of course they're going to tell you everything is fine while the city burns.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are going to be okay.
And just to tell you, we're not immune out here in Staten Island. We had 3 young teens that were attacked after coming out of a bagel store on Richmond Avenue. They were followed by a masked man who waited till they got to the house, and he stabbed each one of them. As of right now, there have been no arrests to the situation. That might have changed by the time this video is uploaded and is viewed. Unlike others who seek attention and with meaningless stunts, the mayor remains focused on the real solutions. That's funny he said that. That's the same thing that Ed Koch said back then. That basically we're handling it. You know, there's no need for this situation. The new patrols come as Governor Kathy Hochul deployed 1,250 National Guardsmen to patrol the city transit system at 150 locations, including a major hub at Grand Central, Times Square, and the Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center. Of course, all the ones in between are the places where they are. They ain't putting ones on Coney Island. They're doing Atlantic Avenue's Barclays Center. They can't put one on at Coney Island. They're not going to, because they don't care. A spokesman for Hochul declined to comment on the Angels Patrol, but said the governor is working closely with City Hall and the NYPD to remove individuals with mental illness who pose a risk to themselves or others. What are you going to do with them? Put them on a bus or plane and ship them somewhere else? We've already heard the situation from these administrations that they've been doing that quietly. Governor Hochul understands there's more work to do, and she will continue working with the NYPD, State Police, MTA PD, National Guard, and other law enforcement personnel to make our subway safer, spokesman Avery Small said. Of course they're going to say this. 75% of the crimes in Manhattan are being committed by illegal migrants. What are you doing about that? Nothing. Nothing. You've just arrested a man. You're holding him now, which basically, because this is way out in the open, and the heinous crime of burning a woman to death. it's just unspeakable to the situation. Supposedly he was drunken on K, on that drug K, whatever the freaking it is, that synthetic drug that you either smoke or snort, which is another dangerous situation that needs to go away. Drugs and alcohol do play a role into this situation, but you can't use them as a defense. This guy, this particular illegal immigrant, Sebastian Zapata Cali, was already kicked out of this country and snuck back in. This is what we're telling you. This is what the now current elected president of the United States has been warning for many years now. People piped it off as racism, because that's what they do. They'll anything they'll disagree with it, they'll put Nazi, white supremacy, racism, to that point. But the truth is, and we've been through it before in New York, history will show it. And people don't talk about this. We had a big crime problem. The guardian angels were protecting us in the 1970s into 80s. But also in the 80s, we were dealing with an influx of migrants from Cuba and Haiti, from what history is deemed the Mariana boat lift. And if you're familiar with the Mariana boat lift, you know what happened. So all you gotta do is watch if you want to know a quick history, yeah, it's a little fictional as far as the characters, the opening moments of Scarface. That's what really happened in Miami at the time. You had an influx of people coming into Florida. Now, some of them, yeah, they were innocent families, children, wives that were coming in here, some men, but a good chunk of them were criminals that were released from the prisons and mental hospitals in Cuba and in Haiti. And what happened? You had an increasing crime in Miami, and then it filtered up the East Coast into New York, to the point NYPD had put a task force together to fight this crime.
These detectives of New York's 48th Precinct are assigned to a special crime task force created solely to combat crimes committed by Cuban refugees, boat people. 1,000 Cuban refugees have been arrested in New York since the beginning of the year, most in the Bronx. Police are convinced these men and a handful of women are the criminal element admitted into the U.S. when Castro emptied his prisons.
They admit to being professional criminals, bandits or banditos, as they refer to themselves.
They're like kids in a candy store.
Now we're going through it again. This time around, people saying, well, it's racist to do that, to send these people back. They came from, horrific conditions and stuff like that. Have you been in El Salvador recently? They're doing a lot better than they were in the 1980s. I'll tell you that for a fact. They put a dent in the gang crimes in El Salvador and certain other countries as well. And remember, it's not only Hispanics that are coming on, especially Mexicans that are coming across that border. We have people from multiple countries, as far as Asia and Africa, coming here. Ask yourself, how the hell did they get here? They flew here. They flew into South America and walked up through Central America and through Mexico. All you gotta do is watch the videos, watch the people that have come in. Look at what is at the Roosevelt Avenue Hotel. Look at the distinction of who's there. And they say, well, it's all families and situations. When you come down to the numbers, it's not all families. And on top of that, you have over 500,000 children MIA in this country alone. How many of them are on the streets of New York right now selling themselves as sex slaves? Or they're doing other things, selling candy, selling food, working in factories. We know this for a fact. these are the situations that are going on right now. Tom Holland is going to kick ass right now. He is going to take this situation and push it to the limit. And people are going to say, well, you know, this is bad. No, this is something that needs to change in our country. If you want to come to this country, I have nothing problem with legal immigration. A lot of my friends came from other countries. They came from Cuba. They came from Africa. They came from Guyana. Came from Haiti. I know a lot of these people. They came from Central America. These are friends of mine. They're co-workers that I've worked with for many years in my retail stint. And in my even in my production stints when I worked with duplication and editing. A lot of them are good people. Yes, they are. But they came in legally, and they've been waiting to become citizens of this country. And they've been pushed to the back of the line. Our homeless problem, the money is not even going in to fund homeless. They're going to illegal immigration. That's why we have a big, big problem on our streets. We have a drug problem. We have a crime problem. We have a homeless problem. We have a mental health problem. And so on and so on and so on. But we have politicians in our government that don't give a shit. They continue to send money to wars that we shouldn't be involved in. They're funding censorship campaigns out there to censor the internet, CASA. Age verification. We know Tennessee has knocked that out of the box for now. We know Florida is trying to hold off the lawsuit from the Free Speech Coalition as well until SCOTUS ruling, which is coming in February. And hopefully SCOTUS will rule that basically these age verification, or AKA now, age assurance, because that's what they're going to change it to. They're going to call it age assurance, that basically it's going to be deemed unconstitutional. No. So comment. Let me know your thoughts about this. Even if you're a New Yorker, you're not a New Yorker, let me know your thoughts. I want to hear it right now. Because, you know, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And there's going to be a lot of changes coming in the near future. We hope for the better. So once again, comment, like, share, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for clicking on this video. We will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Happy New Year, and bye-bye now.